Hello everyone and welcome to Kiki Crochet. In this video we're going to learn how to crochet a poncho with turtleneck, and the video is made with and the project is made with yarn that has been donated to Kiki Crochet from a store here in Greece, and I want to thank very much Ceylan Karahassan for sending the yarns. So the yarn that we're going to use is called Alize Super Lana Midi. This yarn is 75% acrylic, 25% wool, and it's 3.53 ounces and 186 yards each skein. And we're going to need a total of 11 skeins because this crochet project is a one size. It's 103 centimeters wide and 75 centimeters long. But if you're going to make it wider or longer, or if you're going to make the turtleneck bigger, you're going to need more yarn, because 11 skeins, I used them exactly up to the 11th skein, up until the end. So let's go ahead and see how we're going to create our poncho. Okay, so the yarn that I'm using is the Alize Midi, Super Lana Midi. It's 25% wool and 75% acrylic. It's 100 grams and 170 meters. It's 186 yards. So what the yarn says that for crochet hook it needs a 2 to 4 millimeter, but what it actually needs is 5 to 7 millimeters because the yarn is kind of thick. So let's go ahead and start. And what we want to achieve is this result right here. Okay, so I am going to start with 20 chains, but in order to have a total width of 103 centimeters, we need to start with a chain of 150 if you're crocheting with a similar yarn and a 6 millimeter crochet hook. So there is not a specific rule for the moss stitch. We only want to have even numbers. So this is a one size crochet project, but you can always add more length or more width if you need to. So in order to have 103 centimeters width, we are going to start with 150 chains. But because the steps are going to be exactly the same, I'm only going to start with 20 chains. So let's start with our beginning knot, and I'm going to make 20 chains. We want to crochet kind of loose. We do not want to have a very tight chain in the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So this is how my chains look like. So now we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 chains and put your hook in the 4th and work your first single crochet. Chain 1. So each chain 1 stands for the next stitch. So I'm not going to put my hook in the next chain. I'm going to put it in the chain after that, and I'm going to work a single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, put your hook in the chain after that, and work a single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, put your hook in the chain after that, and work a single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, put your hook in the chain after that, and work a single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, put your hook in the chain after that, and work a single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next one, and put your hook in the chain after that, and work a single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, put your hook in the chain after that, and work a single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain, and put your hook in the last chain. So if you're doing it right, you're going to end your first row the same way you're crocheting all the row through. So you're going to skip the next chain and you're going to put your hook in the last chain, and you're going to work your last single crochet. So this is how our first row looks like. So now we're going to start row number 2 and the way that we're going to start row number 2, it's the way that you're going to be starting every row up until you finish your project. So you're always going to be chaining 2 to start your new row and turn your work. Okay, so skip the first single crochet. Whenever crocheting the single crochets, we are always going to be crocheting in the chain 1 spaces. So put your hook under the first, chain 1 space and work a single crochet. Chain 1, put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet. Chain 1, put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet. Chain 1, put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. And make sure you do not miss your last stitch. We are going to put our hook under the 4 chains that we used to turn to the first row and work your last single crochet. Chain 2 to start your new row, always chain 2 for the new row. Turn your work. And we're going to follow the steps that we did in row number 2. So put your hook in the first, chain 1 space and work a single crochet. Chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet. Chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet. Chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Put your hook in the next, chain 1 space, single crochet, and chain 1. Now we are going to crochet our last stitch, and you always have to be careful to not miss your last single crochet. You can use a stitch marker. When you do your first chain 2, you can just put a stitch marker so you remember to crochet in that stitch. So put your hook under the 2 chains that you did in order to start your new row and work your last single crochet. That is always going to be your last stitch. So chain 2, turn the work, and follow the same exact steps. We are always going to be crocheting in the chain 1 spaces, 1 single crochet in the chain 1 space, and then chain 1. And your last stitch is always going to be the 2 chains. Put your hook under here and work your last single crochet. So now, in order to achieve the 75 centimeters length, I need 5 of these skeins, which are 186 yards. So I need 5 of these skeins for each side. When I turn my video back on, I am going to have both sides completed. So I'm going to start with 150 chains. I am going to crochet a total of 5 skeins for the one side, and I'm going to follow the same exact steps to complete the back side as well. But when we complete the 5 skeins, the last row is going to be halfway done. Just leave it like that, and we're going to complete the row with a new skein in both sides. And we're going to need this skein, the last skein, to make the turtleneck. So let's go ahead and make 2 pieces which are 103 centimeters in width, wide, and 75 centimeters long. You can always make it longer and wider if you'd like, but that's what I'm making with right now. So when I complete both of those pieces, I am going to turn my video back on again, and we're going to see how we're going to attach them together, the both pieces, and how we're going to make the turtleneck. I completed both pieces. For the one piece, I am going to cut the yarn. So in the last single crochet, chain 1, cut the yarn, pull the loop, and tighten up. For the second piece, we're only going to do this in one of the pieces. I am going to chain 2, and I'm going to crochet. I'm going to crochet on the one side, and on the end of my piece. So I'm going to leave the opening for the neck in order to make the turtleneck. So now, how we're going to measure the neck opening. So I am going to take my head circumference, which is about 54 centimeters, and I am going to add 6 centimeters to that in order for the turtleneck to fit nicely through our neck and it does not squeeze us and choke us. So we want to add 6 centimeters to the total head circumference. So 54 plus 6, it's 60. But because I want that 60 to be, that's for the total, the head circumference, so I'm going to divide 60 by 2. So it's the front piece and the back piece. So I want both sides each to have a 30 centimeter opening. So I am going to take my measuring tape and I am going to measure 30 centimeters from my work. Okay? So this is 30 centimeters, and I'm going to start counting and see how many stitches this 30 centimeters is. So I am going to count each single crochet with the chain 1 count as 2 stitches. So because I have already measured it, because I did it for the other video, for the Greek video, 30 centimeters are 42 stitches out of my work. So you're going to be counting your chain 1s. So every time you count a chain 1, you're going to add 2 stitches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and you're going to be counting on every chain 1 space. So I have 42 stitches for my neck opening. So we started with 150 chains. Those 150 chains give us 148 stitches. Each single crochet with the chain 1 space count for 2 stitches. If you start from the beginning to the end, you'll see that you have 148. So out of those 148 stitches, I am going to have to subtract the 42 stitches in the middle, which are going to be my neck opening. So 148 minus 42 equals 106 stitches. So those 106 stitches, I am going to divide it by 2 because half of them are going to be on the one side and the other half are going to be on the opposite side. So 106 divided by 2 equals 53. So I'm going to have 53 stitches on the one side and 53 stitches on the other. But in order for the moss stitch to be correct, we need an even number. So instead of 53 stitches, I am going to take 54 on each side. 54, 54, and now in the middle I'm left with 40 stitches. So let's start. Okay, so I am going to chain 2 to start my row. And every time that I'm making a single crochet, I am going to count it as 2 stitches. So start crocheting in the first chain 1 space, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, and 54. Chain 1, cut the yarn, pull the loop, and tighten up. So that's the one side. Now I am going to count my 40 stitches, so in every chain 1 space I'm going to be counting by 2s, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, and 40. So these are my 40 stitches from here to here, which is going to be my neck opening. So from the next chain 1 space, I am going to attach my yarn. So grab the yarn, pull it through the stitch, chain 1, and single crochet in the same chain 1 space. Chain 1, and now keep working the moss stitch up until you complete the row. So if we're doing it right, we're going to have the same stitches, 54 stitches, as we did previously. So I already have my 2 stitches, and every time that I'm making my my single crochet, I'm going to be counting by 2s. Okay, so let's go ahead and complete the row. So I have equal stitches on the one side and on the other, so I'm going to chain 1, cut the yarn, pull the loop, and tighten up. Okay, so we've completed both sides. Okay, so right here, from here to here is the opening that I left for the turtleneck. So let's go and see how we're going to attach both pieces together. So there is no right or wrong side for the for our project, because we were always turning the rows every time they were completing. The only thing is that I want the chains that we started our work with to be on the bottom of our project. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to take a stitch marker and attach one right over here where I stopped crocheting for the turtleneck, and one over here where I started crocheting for the other side of the turtleneck. Okay, so one over here and one over here. So that's how I'm gonna know where to stop making my slip stitches to attach my project. Okay, so I'm gonna attach both pieces together. And I'm going to take the yarn and my crochet hook, and I'm going to take my crochet hook and put it through the first single crochet and the first single crochet on the opposite side. Okay, let me turn this piece so both single crochet are aligned with each other. Okay, so I want the two single crochet to be aligned with each other. This way it's going to be easier to attach the two pieces. Okay, so grab the yarn and take it through both stitches. Chain one, that's to attach the yarn, the chain one. We are going to be working slip stitches now, so put your hook under the chain 1 space and work your next slip stitch. So we want to be taking our hook from the front side to the back. Now put your hook in the next single crochet on the front piece and on the next single crochet on the back piece as well, and work a slip stitch. Work a slip stitch in the next chain 1 space from the front to the back, and slip stitch. Slip stitch in the next single crochet in both sides from the front to the back. We always want to take our hook from the front to the back so we attach both sides together. Okay, so now go in the chain 1 space and work a slip stitch in the single crochet and work a slip stitch under the chain 1 space, slip stitch in the single crochet, and slip stitch. And I want my last slip stitch to be in my stitch marker. I'm going to take out the stitch marker, and that's going to be the last slip stitch. So let's go ahead and keep slip stitching up until I complete the row. I took out the stitch marker and I'm working my last slip stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn, pull the loop, and tighten up. So this is the first side of slip stitches that we completed. So I've completed the one side with the slip stitches. I'm going to jump over on the other stitch marker, and what I'm going to do, in order to align the stitches on both sides, I'm going to grab my work from where I finished the slip stitches on the one side, and I'm going to attach both corners together. So see how this first single crochet came right here on the same single crochet where I'm supposed to start. So I'm going to take out the stitch marker and I'm going to put my hook from the first single crochet on the one side and the first single crochet on the opposite side. So now that we have the crochet hook on the one single crochet on the single crochet on both sides, you can go ahead and count the stitches and see if they are correct. If not, you can just move your single crochet on this piece, not on the back one where we have the neck opening. You're going to see if you're going to need to move your hook either one single crochet to the right or one single crochet to the left, okay, in order to have the same amount of stitches. But 99% the stitches are aligned at this point, and they're going to be and they're equal for both pieces. So grab the yarn, pull it through both of the stitches, chain 1, and this happens only in the first stitch in order to attach the yarn. Okay, so put your hook in the next stitch, in the next chain 1 space on both sides, and slip stitch. Put your hook in the next single crochet in both sides and slip stitch. Put your hook in the next chain 1 space in both sides and slip stitch, and keep slip stitching up until you complete the row. When I complete, I'm going to turn the video back on again. So I worked my last slip stitch, which is under the 2 chains that we work in order to change our row. Okay, so chain 1, cut the yarn, pull the loop, and tighten up. Once you do that, just go ahead and weave in all of your ends in the whole project, and then I'm going to turn my video back on and we're going to see how to create the turtleneck. Okay, so let's go ahead and crochet the turtleneck. Don't get nervous if you think that the neck opening is too big. When we crochet the turtleneck with the ripple stitch, the front post and the back post, it's gonna get tighter. So let's start, and you can join the yarn at any spot on your neck opening. What I want is that I want my crochet, my poncho to be on the right side. I do not want to be seeing the joining of the slip stitches. I want it to be on the right side, okay? So I'm going to join my yarn right here on the side. So I'm going to take my yarn, take it through the stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So those 3 chains count as my first double crochet. So I'm going to crochet 1 stitch in every chain 1 space and 1 stitch in every single crochet. So 1 in the chain 1 space, 2 in the single crochet, 3 in the chain 1 space, 4 in the single crochet, 5 in the chain 1 space, 6 in the single crochet, 7. So keep crocheting 1 double crochet in every stitch, and right here in the joins, well, I'm going to do it off camera because it's hard to maneuver the poncho at this point because it's big and heavy. So once you come at this point, you want to crochet 1 double crochet right here before the joining. These are my slip stitches over here, so I'm going to, from this point, I'm going to skip right to the next stitch right here and do my next double crochet. You're going to follow the same procedure for the opposite side, and when I'm about to finish my row, I'm going to turn my video and see how we're going to continue. I've crocheted my last stitch, and I'm going to work my slip stitch in the first double crochet, and my first double crochet is the chain 3. So I'm going to put my hook in the 3rd chain, and I'm going to work a slip stitch, chain 3, and turn your work. So this is the only time that we're going to turn our work. We're going to keep working in the rounds, and now we're going to make the ripple stitch. We're going to work the front post and back post double crochet. So the first stitch is going to be a front post, so I'm going to put my hook from the front to the back on the right side and to the front again on the left side. So I'm pulling out the double crochet, and I'm going to work a double crochet. On the next stitch, I am going to work a back post double crochet, so I'm going to put my hook from the back to the front on the right side of the stitch, to the back again on the left side. See, we're pulling back the double crochet, and we're going to work a double crochet. The next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet, so I'm going to put my hook from the front to the back on the right side, to the front again on the left side, and I'm going to work a double crochet. The next stitch is going to be a back post double crochet, so I'm going to put my hook from the back to the front of the right side of the stitch, to the back again on the left side, and I am going to work a double crochet. Okay, so let me do that one more time. The next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet, so I'm going to put my hook from the front to the back on the right side, to the front again on the left side of the stitch, and I'm going to work a double crochet. The next stitch is going to be a back post double crochet, so I'm going to put my hook from the back to the front on the right side of the stitch, to the back again, so we're pulling back the stitch, and we're going to work a double crochet. So this is the pattern that we're going to use up until we complete this row. Front post, back post, front post, back post. And right before I complete my row, I am going to turn my video back on again, and we're going to see how we're going to finish the row and how we're going to start the new one. So it's a back post and then a front post, back post. So this is how the stitch looks like so far. So when I am about to finish the row, I'm going to turn my video back on again. Okay, so I finished my row. Make sure that you do not crochet, you do not pull front or back this stitch over here, because this stitch are the 3 chains that we use to start each row, our first double crochet. So because we always are going to start with 3 chains, we do not pull it front or back. It's not a back post or a front post stitch. So I am going to work a slip stitch in the first double crochet of this row, which is the 3 chains. I'm going to put my hook in the third chain and work a slip stitch, chain 3 to start my row, which is my first double crochet. So now we're going to follow the same exact steps that we did in the previous row. So I am going to work a front post double crochet on each front post. So the first stitch is a front post, so I'm going to keep working front post double crochet. The next stitch is a back post. If the stitch is not too visible, use your fingers to pull it up. So I'm going to work a back post with the same exact process. The next stitch is a front post, so I'm going to keep working front post double crochet. The next stitch is a back post, so I'm going to keep working back post double crochet. So this is how it looks so far. So keep working front post and back post. So on every front post double crochet, you are always going to be working a front post up until you finish the turtleneck. And on every back post double crochet, you're always going to be working a back post up until you finish the turtleneck. So when I complete the row, I'm going to turn the video back on and see how we're going to complete it, and from then on we're going to finish the turtleneck off camera. So I finished the third row of my turtleneck, so I'm going to put my hook in the first stitch of this row, which are the 3 chains. So I'm going to put my hook in the third chain and work a slip stitch, chain 3, in order to start the next row. So we're going to continue the rows. We're going to start the row the same way we did in the previous one, and all the rows are going to be made in the same way. Now, if you're not satisfied with the width of the turtleneck and you think it's too wide, you can frog and crochet it with a crochet hook that's 1 millimeter smaller. So instead of making the turtleneck with a 6 millimeter hook, you can go ahead and make it with a 5 millimeter. This way it's going to get a lot narrower. So I'm going to continue working off camera, and I'm going to make the next 2 or 3 rows, and if I'm not satisfied myself as well, I'm going to frog it and make it with a 5 millimeter. And if I do, I am going to mention it when I finish the turtleneck and turn my video back on. So even if you use a smaller hook, a 5 millimeter, the steps are going to be exactly the same. Nothing changes, only your crochet hook. So let's go ahead and complete the turtleneck off camera, and when I finish, I'm going to turn the video back on and see how our poncho looks completed. I've completed my turtleneck. So what I did is I frogged from the beginning because I was using a 6 millimeter hook, and I used a 5 millimeter crochet hook because I wanted it to be narrower. So I used a 5 millimeter for the turtleneck and a 6 millimeter for the rest of the poncho. So I used 11 skeins exactly. This is what I was left from the 11th skein. So if you're going to make it wider or longer, or if you're going to make a bigger turtleneck, you're going to need more skeins of yarn. So I worked my last slip stitch in the chain 1. So I'm just going to pull the loop and tighten up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to weave in all of our ends, and when I complete doing that, I'm going to turn the video and see how our poncho looks completed, and see what kind of variations we can do to make our poncho look differently. So let's go ahead and weave in our ends. So we have completed our poncho. So this is how it looks like, our turtleneck, and this is the rest of our poncho. We used the moss stitch to create it. Now what you can do, some variations, you can add fringes in the bottom of your poncho if you'd like to. You can crochet around a border of a stitch that you like. Let's say the ripple stitch, the same stitch that we used to make the turtleneck, or you can make it more look like a jacket. So you can leave a big opening on the sides, which this is going to be your armhole, the arm opening, and you can add 1 or 2 or 3 buttons from here, from the opening up to the bottom, so it's going to look like a poncho jacket. So you're going to have sleeves, and it's going to be easier to work with. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it like this because I want it to be loose and comfortable to wear it. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, please press like and leave a comment. Thanks again. Bye bye.